subscribe our channel. Stay till the end of the stories for more twist and turn. Comment us about what kind of stories you like to hear. Disclaimer: the channel is not in any kind of support or link to behavior, remarks, statements, feeling, decisions or any kind of emotions in the stories. Girlfriend, 20 female, asked me, 23 male, about open relationships, but it felt like testing the waters. Sorry about my English, not a native speaker. A bit of background: we are together since January 2019, moved in together 3 weeks ago. She is my first girlfriend. I am not her first relationship, but the first one she fell in love with. I consider our sex life very successful, we have intimate often, she seems satisfied. We also talk about it often. We set our barriers in this relationship. I am very monogamous, she said she is too. Last night was very fun, we switched on our goof mode and we were generally having a good time. While we were laying in bed, she asks me, what do you think of open relationships? I had a terrible feeling about this. It surprised me so much that I don't remember much from that moment, but I said I definitely couldn't be in one. We talked about it for a bit, and my mood gradually got worse. She looked so excited about the concept of an open relationship I was taken aback. The terrible feeling in my gut got worse. I eventually asked her if she thought about having sex with other people. She saw my mood shift and froze up when I asked her. Her face shifted from excited to sad and kind of scared. She didn't answer me firmly, she jumped around the bush a lot, but from my understanding and her reaction, she did think of having sex with someone else, but no one in specific. She is curious about the concept. Basically, she thought an open relationship would be interesting and a way to spice up intimacy. I then asked if she is either unsatisfied or unhappy in our relationship, and is our sex life lacking. She replied that she is very happy and satisfied. She then added that some relationships benefit from opening up. I felt horrible. My chest started pounding, my stomach cramped. I couldn't fathom having sex with someone else, let alone her having sex with anyone. And yet, the concept of this was brought up. I started asking specific questions that were left unanswered, like why now, why are you backing out when you were so excited for the concept a few moments ago, do you want to have sex with someone else? It all felt like she was testing the waters. When she saw my reaction she backed out on all she said. She said she couldn't hurt me, she couldn't do it with anyone else. That I am very important to her. Her main point was it was just a question, I didn't do anything. The other line of defense was that she was just talking generally about open relationships, not ours. I also learned that she and her guy friend talked about open relationships when they went clubbing last Saturday. We also talked by text, where she said even if you agreed to it, I don't think I could do it and sexuality can evolve. It also wasn't the first time that the concept of having sex with someone else was brought up. A few months into dating we had a crisis of sorts because she couldn't stop thinking about having sex with a woman. A topic of a long break was brought up by her, but I stood my ground and said no. I felt uneasy about it for a very long time. It eventually got better. It all sucks so much because we have an amazing relationship. I also saw this girl completely bloom when she was with me. Previous relationships left her very damaged. She changed for the better so much and I couldn't be more proud of her. I really love her dearly, but I feel hurt. Are my feelings valid? Am I overreacting? I feel very confused, but also numb. Sorry I misread. It does sound like she was testing the waters. Now, I think what is really tricky here is that it's very easy to make assumptions about her intent. It could be just her mind wandering into a stupid idea and then just blurted it out loud. I agree that, it could be just her mind wandering, but she isn't really the type to blurt stuff like this out. It indeed was out of character for her. When she talks about that kind of topic, she usually thinks it through. It kind of creeps me out that she was so casual about it too. Thank you for pointing that out. There's nothing wrong with being monogamous. It is the normative behavior of human society, Regardless of the shit people are going to lay on you for daring to post that you're offended your girlfriend brought up the idea of having sex with other men. If an open relationship isn't for you, you guys need to have a serious discussion where you explain that you're monogamous, and despite the fact that some relationships do evolve to open, you can't stay with her if she's sitting around waiting for that moment that probably won't ever come. She needs to decide if monogamy is something she can manage to live with for life if she stays with you. At the same time, be suspicious of any guy who starts trying to talk your girlfriend into poly lifestyle. Multiple have tried that line of shit on women in monogamous relationships I know, and to a T the motive was always to sleep with that woman, not because they generally felt that poly was better, with no selfish motivating factor. The real poly people I know aren't out there trying to be homewreckers, and they are very open, transparent, and honest about their intent as they enter a relationship. We did talk about having physical with someone else in the past, and we were both heavily against it. That's why it took me by surprise. I will definitely bring this up next time we talk. Thank you for mentioning the guy, I will keep an eye on him. What's interesting, she hasn't seen him in years, but decided to go meet him at the club where they spent the whole night together, returning home at 6 a.m. She said he talked about biological benefits of an open relationship. I still to this moment don't know what to feel and think about the fact that they were so open with each other. She's usually not the most talkative and so open with people she doesn't have regular contact with. Dude. If there aren't clean clubs in your area that are open till 6 a.m. and or she doesn't usually stay out until 6 a.m., this is a huge red flag. You also didn't mention that this guy friend is someone she hasn't seen in years, and their talk turned to sex just like that? Huge red flag. You do mention that she's had problems in past relationships. Not saying it's all her fault, but can you take off the rose-colored glasses and look hard at whether or not she brings destructive and self-defeating behaviors into her relationships? I'm worried for you, my guy, and worried that you're already kind of in an open relationship, that she's just looking for retroactive permission for cheating by using polyamorous options as a cover for her indiscretion. The clubs are open for a very long time, easily until morning, plus she had to return, and it isn't that close to the city center to home. It's true she usually doesn't stay until 6 a.m., when we go out to town we return nowhere close to that hour, she either gets too tipsy, or is too tired and we have to go. I assume that she had a good time because she stayed up so late, but she told me she had an okay time, which I found really weird. I also should add that she doesn't really go clubbing, it was the first time that she went alone while in a relationship with me. She experienced sexual harassment in her previous relationship and brought some of those destructive behaviors to ours, but is actually really good at identifying them and is actively working on them. The most intrusive is her shutting down when we're having an unpleasant conversation, like she did yesterday, because she kept saying her head is blank and doesn't know what to say and how to reply to me. I'm sorry, I don't want to be the typical user of this sub, but you said that she isn't a very open person, usually doesn't stay out that long, never went to clubs without you before, she hasn't seen this guy in years, then suddenly decides to go clubbing alone with him, come back at 6 a.m. weirdly saying that she had an okay time, says they talked about open relationships, and you didn't think anything of that night and that guy? This just seems like such an elephant in the room compared to your issue with her talking to you about openness. I'll give you that, I haven't looked at it that way. This is something that I missed, maybe I was fooling myself. It is indeed an elephant in the room. I'll address that too. Thank you. So by the look of it, she wants to explore her sexuality and maintain her relationship with you. This is very common and it is great that she feels comfortable talking to you about this. Maybe you could talk about exploring the lifestyle with her a bit. There are ways to make these things work and have a lot of fun at the same time. I am not interested in exploring my sexuality with anyone else but my girlfriend. It just wouldn't work for me. I also wouldn't feel comfortable with her exploring her sexuality and then returning home to cuddle with me. It doesn't sit right with me. We've tried to come up with ways to explore her sexuality, but we couldn't land on a compromise. Sounds like you overreacted pretty heavily on a normal question from her side. I've also discussed an open relationship with my partner and we both decided it wasn't for us. And she's right, some relationship do benefit from it, but only if both partners mutually agree to it. From what I read, she made it pretty clear that she wouldn't want this if you didn't. Yet you kept attacking her with questions. Please apologize and tell her you felt overwhelmed because you love her too much. Because this is a good way to lose her. I'll keep it all in mind, thank you for your advice. I agree that open relationships work for some people, but I've been very firm on my views with her since the beginning. That's why I reacted the way I did. I know I could do it better, but my emotions got the better of me. I felt way too uneasy when she talked about it so happily. Thanks for listening so far. If story have update we will post here. Like and subscribe to our channel for upcoming stories.